Good morning, guys. Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks so much for being here, for being subscribed. If you're not, go ahead and hit that button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit that like button. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into this reality chat. I wanted to circle back. I did a previous reality chat where I was talking about the fact that Quad had some feelings, which he has the right. Everybody has the right to feel however they want to feel, but it doesn't really mean that those feelings are warranted or you deserve to get what you want just because you feel a certain type of way, right? And she was being interviewed by her, and I'm putting air quotes in here, friend, Dr. Heavenly from Married to Medicine. They're both castmates. But, I put the friend in air quotes, not just because they're just filming the show together, but also, guys, for those of you who have been watching Married to Medicine over the years, you know that Dr. Heavenly and Mariah, the creator of the show, mind you, bumped heads, and Mariah even spoke how she was the one that actually wanted Dr. Heavenly on the first season, but they didn't want her because she was on her weight loss journey. I guess, I don't want to say beginning it, but she definitely wasn't where she wanted to be, and she wasn't where the show needed her to be because they were not there for her look. And so she admitted that was why they declined Dr. Heavenly being on the first season, but they brought her on the second season. But even with that being said, she and Mariah bumped heads. She didn't like Mariah for whatever reason. Mariah said she actually did like her, but for whatever reason, they started bumping heads, and then they just didn't, they didn't mesh. And if you remember Mariah saying she had those receipts on Dr. Heavenly's husband, and that you don't come for daddy. You don't come for daddy. So nobody really has a chance with Dr. Heavenly after you come for her husband. But anyway, I wanted to circle back to this because I just really find it hard to believe that Quad's ex-husband, Dr. G, was abusive to her. And look, I know none of us are in their household. We don't see what goes on behind closed doors. I get all of that. But no one can really make me believe that this man was beating on her, and now they bring him and his new wife on the show, and she's back on the show filming with them. Not only that, she's claiming that she's not mad about him moving on and getting into a new relationship and getting married, because she even congratulated them when they announced their engagement. She congratulated them on social media. If this man was beating your ass, do you congratulate him? Like, seriously, that doesn't make any sense to me. So the reason why I wanted to circle back to this is because they were discussing this on TGIF, and I hadn't watched them in a little minute, but I want to go ahead and play this clip so you guys can hear the discussion on what they had to say about it.
In an interview with Dr. Heavenly, Married to Medicine star Miss Quad shared that she felt blindsided and disrespected after producers, including her ex-husband and his new wife, in the upcoming season. Q, I know you're these folks and you follow these shows. What are your thoughts on this?
My first school of thought in this moment is to just withdraw from this story altogether, because the response from everybody else is going to be, that's your friend. Me and Quan are close friends. We're very close friends, right?
And you and Quan are really good friends, and Al and Heavenly are really good friends.
You know what I'm saying? And our friends too. Here's the thing.
Fancy boots.
I tell. What can I say about this? It's funny when you're just this close to the situation.
Do you want me to take it?
No. Here's what I'll say. People have the right to feel whatever it is they want to feel, right? You may not agree with it. A lot of people I've seen in the comments are saying, well, girl, you not even married to medicine. You know, I see a lot of people saying, you use Dr. G. I see a lot of people saying if it wasn't for Dr. G, you wouldn't be on the show. I also see people saying, well, you helped ice out Mariah, so whatever the case may be. And all of those things could be true.
They are true.
And yet she's still allowed to feel what it is she feels. I think that if anybody was part of an ensemble anything, and you got divorced, and your ex was not a part of it, and then a season or two later, they bring your ex and his new wife on, anybody would feel a way. And we're not going to sit up here and pretend like they brought Dr. G and Sweet Tea on. Quad being there was not a factor. The whole point of bringing them on was to see the conflict. Backstory that you guys don't know, because I am friends with the ladies, is that the Toyas and the Simones of the world went out there and when they were not filming and purposely befriended this girl in an effort to get her on the show, to get at Quad, all right? Now, those of y'all who don't like Quad, y'all gonna have y'all opinions, whatever the case may be, but that's just the true tea. Here is one thing that I will say, as far as Quad feeling disrespected by the producer. She's been doing this too long, I think, and those people will owe her anything. Let me tell you something. There's two people on earth you do not trust. That's a man and that's a reality TV producer. A reality television producer will do and tell you anything. Their loyalty is not to you. Their loyalty is to getting the scene and getting the episode. So I don't know why Quan feels disrespected, because they're doing whatever it is they need to do to try to get the ratings that they need to get.
1,000%. I totally understand how she feel like, damn, why me? Because after so many years with the show, you feel like I have some kind of currency with y'all or some kind of like thing, but nope. It don't freaking matter. Of course they would jump on that. That's great TV. We love to. They always want to see that kind of stuff. But I understand the humanity in me is like, yeah, of course that would feel like shit. Al, what do you think about this?
That's very interesting that you asked me, Claudia, because I've been a part of this show since inception. And I think there's space for me to argue that I, obviously didn't have the best interaction with Miss Dr. Heavenly. And we know that, right? It's no secret here. So the fact that we're even covering her on my show at the top of this discussion, I wanted to say that I was super offended. Like, why are we talking or giving someone a platform, on my show who disrespected me? But after hearing you guys, that's what producers are supposed to do, right? We're supposed to cover information. We're supposed, whether we like it or not. And so here, you guys just helped me neutralize the thought that I had earlier about how I felt. Because honestly, I felt disrespected covering the story.
Really? I've had to sit here many times that we talked to people that have said horrific things about me in front of millions of people. And I know how you feel. It's like, then you get criticized with any little thing you do with your face. If you, they read into that and say you're still mad. You in your feelings, like you're not.
But I just thought about it. When I read the story, I just took it very personal, right? And then just listening to Q's discussion, this is an example of this is the type of show that we do, and so I can't just take this personal because.
Well, in fairness, Al, in fairness, you're being a pansy because Dr. Heavenly is not the story. Quad's the story.
Yeah, I don't think this is. I don't think they.
Yeah, maybe you're missing what I'm saying, but I get it.
Okay.
And there Q goes, always having to get his licks in, right? But it is kind of true. The story isn't about Dr. Heavenly; it's about Quad. But basically, what Al was saying is, I get it because it's about the show. It's not about the individual that's on the show. And that's the point that he was trying to make. So I don't even know why Q had to do that. Not that it wasn't true, but the fact of the matter is the point that he was trying to make is that Quad trying to say, well, I felt disrespected by production that they would bring my ex-husband and his new wife back to the show. I've been here since conception. So was he. And if it wasn't for him, she wouldn't have been there in the first place. But the reason I wanted to talk about this is the fact that she claimed in that interview that she did with Dr. Heavenly that, knowing the history and, one, I don't believe they really know the history, but two, if that really indeed happened, she has not really made that clear, because I don't care how messy production is. I don't believe that they would have brought this man back on the show if he was beating her behind. I'm just saying, I don't believe that. If he was beating her butt up and she was in this abusive marriage, they never would have done that. I just don't believe that. And so I'm not saying that there aren't people who are in relationships or have been in relationships where they are one way outside of the doors of the household, and then behind the closed doors they're another way, but they want to appear strong and all of those things. So please don't think that that's what I'm saying when I say this. I'm not saying that if someone portrays himself a certain way in public, that means that they are not in an abusive relationship or were in an abusive relationship. I'm absolutely not saying that, because I definitely do understand that there are women and even some men, more women than men, we know this, just because of the natural strength of a man being more than a woman. I don't care how strong a woman is, but I'm saying I know that there are people who have been unfortunately abused, and they see it as embarrassing, and they don't want to put that face out there for the world to see, so they cover it up. So that's not what I'm saying about Quad. Please don't think that that is where I'm trying to go. So don't come in my comment section saying stuff like that, because I'm absolutely not implying that. But I'm sorry, I don't believe that any woman who was really, truly, indeed in an abusive relationship with a man would, I don't care how good the check is, would be there filming with this person and their new wife. I don't believe that person would have congratulated their ex-husband when he was moving on to someone else. I don't believe that. They wouldn't want to have anything to do with this a-hole if they got away from them, right? So for her to imply that, I feel is BS. But the other thing I wanted to say is, I was listening to one of my my favorite content creators, House of Aaron, and he brought up a good point, which actually is true, and I just didn't get around to saying it, so I'm glad that he was speaking about this. He was sharing a part of a live video from someone else's channel that they shared, that Dr. Heavenly did, where she was with Simone and Dr. G's new wife that they call Sweet Tea. And the new wife, she made a comment that Dr. Heavenly was ignoring Quad's call. It was ignoring Quad's call, right? And I was like, oh, Lord. Okay, here we go. But for Q, Funky Dineva on TGIF, to put that out there to say that, well, I'm not saying that he is saying that's what happened, but he's saying that's what's being said, that Simone and Toya purposely befriended Dr. G's new wife to get her on the show. One, I don't believe they have that type of power. And two, the husbands, Dr. Simone and I was about to say Dr. Toya. Dr. Simone's husband, Cecil, and Toya's husband, Dr. Eugene, they're still friends with Dr. G. Okay? So they naturally, if they're hanging out and if they're going to events and different things like that together as couples, why would they not be friendly to this woman? I'm not saying that they would become the best of friends, because you never really know how these relationships will evolve when you start being around people. But in my personal opinion, I think the friendship, the so-called friendship between Dr. Heavenly and Quad, is faker than a friendship that would be forged between Toya, Dr. Simone, and Dr. G's new wife. Because let's be clear, these friendships that are created based off of you hate the same person that I hate, so let's be friends, those friendships rarely last or hardly are ever even real. And they both did not like Mariah. So them gravitating towards each other and liking each other, I just felt was fake because they have been into it and over what I would call superficial stuff. But when it comes to Quad, it's usually superficial because Quad got upset that Dr. Heavenly implied that she got a BBL. Who the freak cares? You know what I mean? But she was holding a grudge against Dr. Heavenly because of a comment that she made on her Instagram, on some Instagram post where she was somewhere vacationing or whatever, and she had on a bikini, and Dr. Heavenly, I believe she implied that she had a BBL, and Quad got upset about that. But see, this is one of the reasons why I don't want to see Quad on the show anymore. But I'm going to tell you, watching this season, I'm here for it. They need to put the fire under her because she has been skating on the show for several seasons, and it's like, why are you even here? You're not even married to medicine, my love. You better go find a chiropractor. Like Mariah said. But it's weird. Who do you know in their right mind that is single, a single woman, and they want to go on couples trips with other people? First of all, if I was a woman married to my man and this single woman wanted to always be around us and going on couples trips, I wouldn't trust her. Like, are you trying to sneak in the woods somewhere with my husband? When I'm just saying, I'm just basically saying the thoughts that most wives would have if they're constantly having this hanger on, this fifth wheel of this woman wanting to be around us as couples, and you're always coming on these trips. So when Toya said that seasons ago, I didn't really care for Toya that much at the time, but I agreed with her. I was like, yeah, like, why would you even want to go on couples trips? But Quad got upset about that. Well, I'm going to be at the couples trips. If I want to be there, I'm going to be there. And I was saying, why would you want to be there? Why would you want to be there? But again, she would get upset about superficial things. She got upset that Toya called her, it was like a 3-story beautiful condo that she was living in at the time in Atlanta. She got pissed off at Toya because she called it a little apartment. So you know what she does? She goes and buys a whatever priced mini mansion, and it's just her and her mom. And then she had the little nephew on there, in my personal opinion, as a storyline when the mom was in the picture. Because at first when I saw that, I was thinking, because I know she said her brother died, the child's father. So I was just assuming, well, maybe the mom isn't in the picture. Maybe she isn't capable of raising a child. I don't know. But then when I saw that the mom was around, I'm like, well, why is this little boy living with her? And not just why is a little boy living with her, because that's fine if you want to do that. But why is a little boy living with her, but the mom isn't? That looked weird to me. And then her throwing the shade at Toya and, talking about nobody thought I could do this, but I did it on my own. Talking about her buying a house, buying a mini mansion. Who the freak cares? You know what I mean? But again, the superficial when it comes to Quad. It's just absolutely ridiculous. So to hear Funky Dineva, Q, make that implication of Toya and Dr. Simone befriended Dr. G's new wife to get the both of them back on the show. The guys who are friends with Dr. G, they still were wanting him to be on the show. They really didn't understand why. I know the men, they didn't come out and say it because they didn't want to offend Quad and her sensitive nerves. But they were wondering, why is Quad on the show, but Dr. G isn't? Because to be honest with you, they could have had them on the show not as a couple, but living separately. So honestly, Quad should be grateful because she got scot-free several seasons of not having any type of fire put under her, because they could have had him on the show before he was in a relationship with anyone else, but just having her and having him separately. And then they could have showed him dating other people and then getting engaged. So they didn't do all of that. But now that he got into a relationship where he wound up becoming engaged and getting married, and they made the decision to bring him back on the show, they didn't feel that there was anything that was prohibiting them from bringing him back on the show, because if he was this man that was beating her butt day in and day out, and she didn't make that clear to them, then how would they know? So for her to make that comment to Dr. Heavenly when she was being interviewed, well, they know the history. No, they don't. No, they don't. And she, I'm sorry. I just can't with her. But when I heard this on TGIF, I wanted to talk about this, because also when I heard House of Aaron talk about this, and I want to go ahead and just play this clip really quick, but I'm going to put the video, the link to it in the description box, where he showed this little brief live video that Dr. Heavenly did, where she was with Dr. Simone and Dr. G's new wife.
While hanging out with Quad's ex-husband's new wife.
We ate. We had. What you have, the BLT?
I had half of the BLT. You had the other half. Let's go on in the
What you say? What you say?
You don't ignore it, Quad. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Messy.
See, that's why you gonna get your ass whipped. Because I didn't want to do it in front of you. She gonna beat your Quad gonna beat your You keep starting
They don't know how to behave.
I ain't say it's her.
Let me tell you, I try to stay out of trouble. I try to stay clear of trouble, but people be messy. I ain't calling no names. I ain't calling no names.
Hey, y'all.
That little baby right
I'm not messy. You're not?
I ain't messy at all.
Okay.
I'm real.
Well, you heard that, and I'm going to put the link to his video in the description box. But listen, yeah, Dr. Heavenly is messy, but Quad is messy too. And Quad shouldn't even be surprised, because they're not really friends. And honestly, I wouldn't say that is the reason that Dr. Simone and Quad are not friends. But if you recall, when she had her show Sister Circle, and head was up in the clouds, and in my personal opinion, got the big head like Nene got, and didn't really feel like she needed those ladies. I'm not going to say she didn't feel like she needed the show, but she had her priorities, and her priorities was Sister Circle and the women on that show. And she felt like they were more friends and sisters than the ladies on Married to Medicine, right? So Dr. Simone, she did confront Quad about that and told her how it made her feel. And Quad didn't even really care. So why should Dr. Simone, if she genuinely gravitated towards forging a friendship with her husband's friend's new wife, which is what Sweet Tea would be, because Cecil and Dr. G, they never stopped being friends because he and Quad got divorced, then Quad can't even be mad at that, because she was the one that was really feeling herself and not really thinking that the friendship was valuable. Simone had confronted her about just being so late when they would have meetups together and things like that, and just not really acting like it was a really big deal. She apologized for it later, but I don't even really feel like the apology was genuine, because I just don't feel that Quad is genuine. So anyway, I just find this kind of funny. You can let me know your thoughts about this in the comments section, guys. Thank you so much for being here, liking and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until the next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.